Is that the underdog laugh? If I'm...
Yeah.
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 That's Lance.
Something like that.
The villain-looking dog. Yeah.
Shut up and sit down.
Oh God, here it comes! Oh, hot, 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 hot.
Going on a bike ride, sidewalk on my right side. I could go anywhere.
Feel the burn.
Going on a bike ride, nothing but the sunshine. I could go anywhere.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Lee Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Enjoy the podcast. It's a spicy one.
Hot garbage.
Handlebar bell sings. What a simple thing.
Ow! Heat was hot.
Going on a bike ride.
Hell yeah. Cancer-free, sharp brain, plenty of energy, terrible breath. As a conclusion, coffee is the shit.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance Romance, right here for your pleasure.
Listening pleasure.
I don't know if it's listening pleasure.
And it is a pleasure.
Whatever pleasure you need.
Your voice sounds a little different today.
It's
I'm
because
here
of
for it.
It's because of the mustache.
The mustache. The voice sounds a little.
Are we back with the
mustachy?
mustache for good right now?
I don't know.
It's got a
do
little
like-
bit more handlebar-y look
I
to
do
it.
like the mustache.
My beard is gone. You guys didn't notice.
Yes. Well, what did you shave this morning and now you already have a
You
a
just look like
week-long
a
stubble?
When you
Clock
came
shadow.
when you came over to my house,
It was much thicker.
It was.
I was at your house on Wednesday. It was much thicker.
It was there. It was there on Wednesday.
It was gone by Saturday.
It was gone.
Yeah, it was gone
It
Saturday.
was gone shortly after Wednesday.
To Lance's left, Evan Price.
Well, I ate a paper bag of lunch here, but Matt is...
Sipping on our sponsor,
There you go, Kirkland.
Kirkland.
And Lance it has something in his bottle. I'm going to
Vodka.
assume it's vodka or
Something
Mountain, or not Mountain, Monster.
It's water. Drinking vodka water.
There you go.
I'm going to turn some water into coffee here pretty soon.
I was going to say, Jake needs to get himself some coffee here, and that's...
My best
That's
Jesus
all we got.
Cristo.
Yep.
Turning it in. Last but not least, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You're looking like we're here. We are here.
We made it.
Speaking of the internet, Matt is super busy on the internet here. You know,
I
when
got-
you have
things.
1 million subscribers to your YouTube channel, you just... They...
A million views, I think.
The people need
Really?
their
I think so.
videos.
I
You
mean,
get a million
I have
views.
to, I have to look and see, but probably.
Dang.
Maybe. Seems
And I mean,
it sounds
imagine
like
if
good-
we do one more video with me in it, you'll be, 50 views closer.
Yeah.
It's only one or two zeros. It's close. So, right on. Let's backpedal real quick. Lance, go.
I had a suck week.
Me too.
Me three.
You both are so old.
I did not have a good week. I took Monday and Tuesday off.
Stalking Lance's Strava right now.
Yeah, there's nothing on it. Just wait till you see. I took Monday and Tuesday off because I was supposed to take those days off. Wednesday, I did a sprint workout for
Yes.
our very own Matt
It's
LeGrand.
very important.
As we were testing some brand new equipment that we will be able to announce.
We can talk about it.
Because it's supposed.
Nice.
We're recording on Monday. It's going to be announced on Tuesday.
As long as this
As long as this
sent
comes
out
out
on Wednesday,
on Wednesday.
we should be safe.
There's a couple new Yahoo
Yahoo, the internet company, has gotten into the bike business.
There's a
They want
couple
to go.
new.
They want to go toe to toe with Wahoo. Wahoo. Which one's going to be better? No one knows.
Nobody cares. There's a couple new Wahoo products coming out, and so I went and modeled for Matt while he shot a bunch of
And
video.
I put him in the most interesting, sensual outfits. So you're really going to want to tune in for this one
Can't
because, my
wait.
goodness, what will Lance be wearing? What will he be wearing?
Very little.
You need to get
Tune
on
in.
it, people.
Tune in to
next time.
find
Tune
out.
in on Tuesday.
International man of mystery, man about town.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Anyway, I did that workout for Matt in his garage on a brand new set of rollers coming out from Wahoo.
Or Yahoo. We don't know.
Yeah.
Or Yahoo. And that was basically it.
All week long?
No, today, this morning, before you came here, you rode for 3 hours in Watopia with Carrie Cadence.
Yeah, well, that's because I didn't do anything for a week.
Oh, my God. Lance.
I felt like crap all week. Back felt fine. Physically, I felt fine. My head was not in it all week. I just did
I know
not.
this is the problem with physical rest weeks is,
I did not want to ride. I didn't even want to. I didn't want to get on my bike all week, and I don't know. My head just did not feel right.
So the 148-week training plan came to an end?
I just like...
Don't worry, it's time to start the next 140-week training plan now.
I woke up and was like, I'm going to ride today. And then 7 hours later, I get off the couch. I'm like, oh, I missed my window.
Snuck that window.
It
It's so tiny.
Right past me.
7 hour window.
I just missed it. I guess I'm going back to bed.
Lance is like that guy when you text somebody and they text you like 2 days later, like super busy, couldn't have gotten to the phone. Just like a picture of him just sitting on the couch the entire time.
I'm busy. Actually, Jake did
Pretty
text
busy.
me
Pretty busy.
saying, hey, let's go ride gravel bikes.
Busy.
I'm like, busy.
It's like, nope, got family stuff to do.
My family stuff was sit downstairs on the couch.
With you yourself
With
and
his
you.
dog.
Well, with Piper glued to my hip, and Brandy's upstairs working on her glorious art project.
Sorry, Piper won't let me off the
Sorry,
couch.
Piper won't let me
family
leave
stuff
the
with the dog.
house. I don't know. It was a crap week.
It's all right. We need those.
It's February, man.
Except that training camp starts this weekend. I'm going to get
You're going in fresh. You're going in fresh.
one way to put it is going in fresh. Another way to put it is I'll see you guys at the top.
At least you won't be waiting.
When are you guys?
I will not be waiting at the top of
nice.
any climb.
Being the slowest guy's nice.
As soon as I show up, I'm like, hey guys, we can go now.
So let's roll.
Let's roll.
You're technically going to have the most consistent riding, though, because you will not have to wait and your legs will be always warm, so you'll be fine.
For years now, everybody on the team is treated like training camp like one of their A races.
Yes.
Like everyone's, oh yeah, I'm getting sharp for training camp. It's like, hold on, isn't the purpose of training camp to go out and get fitness and get yourself into
I'm pretty sure
shape?
that's how the actual pros do it, is they go in out of shape.
Jake, you're so naive.
We all know race
Well, I'm not
results don't
naive because
matter.
I got my backside handed to me plenty of times trying to keep up with these yahoos on some of these climbs.
But what kills me is you're at training camp, so you're going to be doing long rides every day. In the first, 5 miles, you got guys just going 400 watts, and I'm just like, what the heck, guys? This makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
This makes no sense. We got all day here, guys. You want to sprint later?
Actually,
that
all
makes
week.
sense.
Really all week.
You got plenty of time. I'm like, why aren't we just easing into it a
Why
little bit?
else do 20 guys get together except to flog themselves like
Yeah.
that? That's the point.
But that's fine. But the first 5
Machismo, man.
miles,
Machismo.
Yeah.
If there's a stop ahead sign,
I was going to say that exactly.
somebody's going for it. Which means
Everybody.
if one guy goes for it, there's like 5 others that are also going to go for it.
Yeah, we're 5 minutes into the ride, and there's a stop ahead sign 14 miles up the road that Lance is already breaking to go
Start
get.
thinking
Right?
about.
This is my only chance. Is if it's a downhill stop sign.
When is
Suck it,
training
Surratt.
camp? When do you guys take off for training camp?
Saturday.
It starts Saturday.
Okay.
Or we fly into Orange County on Saturday.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's the plan. And
Yep.
that's all week, all next week.
No podcast for you.
Well, I got things up the sleeve. We'll see.
No,
You
you
gotta bring
guys
the
should.
gear. Bring
You
the
guys
gear.
should do bring some portable stuff and do
Oh, yeah.
like a Q&A with the guys at the
Yeah,
camp.
we got all
That'd be
kinds-
fun.
It'll be fun. There
good.
will
I'm
be a
excited to hear
podcast.
that
We will
one.
not miss just because of that. We might even have to call you guys and get some
Call us.
There you go.
us in.
feedbacks from you.
We'll talk
Me
try.
and Matt can,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. We'll talk. There's some exciting stuff coming up and try here soon.
Cool. Well, on that note, Evan, backpedal.
I just wrapped up a 5-week run kind of focused training block.
Are you starting to taper a little bit?
Yes, this
Well,
this week I am actually going to taper. Now my tapers are still going to be a training week, but it's definitely bringing down the intensity and the volume of the run.
Okay.
I will be
You're gonna at the
racing
track tonight.
Yes,
or
speed
whenever.
work tonight, easy Wednesday, strides Thursday, easy Friday, Saturday.
That sounds like a real good idea.
It does.
You and taking
It does.
taper time.
I'll tell you what, it definitely is about time that I did that. But it's going to be interesting because so the race is going to be Sunday, and kind of I'm using the classic excuse of like, oh it's not an A race, like I'm not going to go. But I know in my head I really really want to go fast at this race.
I wish I'll be out of town, but I wish I could go watch you.
Yeah, it's okay, but still it'll be fun. Outside of that, I'm excited to get into a bike block here coming up. Okay. So after this run block,
ooh, we need to do some testing.
Yeah,
we have like a product that
me and Matt have some
working on
fun
a video
things.
for,
yeah,
and it tests VO2, like not VO2 max, but like
ventilatory rates and all that. Yeah,
and things like that. And yeah, so super exciting, and I'm excited to test that one, especially if you're doing a bike block, because maybe we'll be able to detect some differences.
Oh, we will definitely.
And it might be a tool that you might be interested in using because you could theoretically say, oh, it looks like I'm neglecting, this. V1 zone versus V2.
Yep. And I think it's also just a good way to track. Like if you are getting fitter and doing the correct things, you should be doing better with this testing.
Well, and there's different spots like your V1 can move up, your V2 can move up, and so it is weird that you can have an advantage by having these different zones move around.
Depending on if you're training for like shorter distance or if you're training for longer distance, it's a really useful tool, I think, in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it coming up. There's going to be a week in March here coming up. My first race of the year is going to be Oceanside, which is the first weekend in April. So that's a half Ironman.
Okay.
So everything I'm doing is kind of gearing towards that. But between the half marathon this weekend and then the Mike Myers time trial 2 weekends from now.
That's exciting.
March 12th.
The 12th. Yeah, March 12th. I'm going to use both those as just little markers right now to where we're at moving forward.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Matt LeGrand.
Okay, so remember, last podcast I came in here. I'm like, I'm not that bad. My ankle's not that bad. I was wrong. The ankle was bad. The day after the podcast, couldn't walk. Then like another day or two, I couldn't walk.
This
was so bad.
This was from your mountain bike crash.
Mountain bike crash last Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's been
a
just
week.
over a week. And the day after the mountain bike crash wasn't that bad. But then I think it was just enough swelling, and there's no place for things to swell on your shin bone. I couldn't walk. Like I got out of bed and I'm like, okay, make it to the couch. Just make it to the couch. So made it to the couch.
And then 7 hours later,
7 hours later, I'm like, Lance, Lance, what you doing?
Oh,
Let's hang
I'm
out.
busy.
Busy, Matt. Busy.
Yeah. Well, actually, and that's one of the reasons I texted you, and I was like, I don't think I can test these products that I need to make a video on. I need your help. And
you should have had such a raw video that just like your shin bleeding all over. Be like, wow, Here's pedals are great.
Don't look at the leg. Just look directly at the pedals.
Getting a little lightheaded here.
Feel a little lightheaded. There's a product looks great with all the blood on it, Matt. Thank you.
All my bikes have blood on them.
Oh. Yeah. So this was my first day off, a couple days off since for a long time, year and a half or something, maybe. Like that.
Wow. 200 days, right?
Well, I mean,
you're always doing something.
Yeah,
some
exactly.
swim.
Like
or
I don't really. It's not like what Jake did with like
an hour every day.
An hour a day. Like I was, probably doing more like 30 minutes.
It was like the Matthew McConaughey
sweat every day.
Break a sweat every day.
Yep. So anyway, it's been a very
that was
very
his
chill week.
That was his fitness
plan
of attack. Was I just need to break a sweat every day.
I did ride a couple
simplicity.
times.
Yeah.
I rode outside once to test the pedals. I rode on the new roller system once, and I still need to ride today to test a couple different power meters and things like that to just compare some numbers before that video gets put out.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of little rides. No swimming because you shouldn't do that with open wounds.
I have
behind Matt.
I have to be honest, but you should not. No, that's a bad
I think
idea.
At this point, I think I'd be fine because
you can just put some second skin over it and be okay.
We got a nice little layer of scab starting up, so that's good. I'm happy. I'm very proud of that, and no running because
good job, immune system.
So not much exercise. Yeah. Back pedal over.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had a terrible week too. I think I logged 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours this week.
But
that's
you
like
did a ton of lifting though. So
well, we did the team ride earlier in the week, which was a good ride, and I don't know, it was about an hour and a half of riding, and then I've been religiously, thank you, Nate Scott, doing he loaned me this Concept 2 rowing machine. I've fallen in love with that thing because it's something I can do, and I think it's actually helping my shoulder a little bit. It's not helping like the range of motion
overhead
and
mobility
and the issues that I have up in that range, but lower, like keeping the arms lower. I think it's helping me build up a bit of back strength.
Yeah.
And I think core strength and leg strength and stuff that's going to translate well to the bike. So I've been doing that now for, gosh, how long did you let me borrow that for? I haven't missed a week. No, it's longer than that. It's like 5 or 6 weeks if I'm not mistaken. Wow. But anyway, I need to get one. I've kind of resolved to that. And I'm going to start working that.
Well, there's other things too. There's some more like digital, almost like Peloton style ones that you can look into.
There's the Hydro Row, which is pretty popular.
Of.
Those things are really pricey though, and it's like
I bet
$40 a month for the membership. I'm like, I don't need that.
Memberships, man, they're killing us.
Yeah, and those.
Speaking of Peloton.
They're in trouble.
Took a giant dump.
A little bit.
Anyway, wow. Funny you should mention that. We talked about this a lot on Saturday. So.
Peloton.
And those things cost like $22 some $2,100, $2,200, $2,300, something like
Burning
that.
money. Just let it burn.
Those
You could
concept.
probably get something used, like a used.
Well, the Concept 2s are like the industry standard. I think Evan can attest to that because Cassie was
they're
a
great.
big time rower, and that's
Oh, okay.
and even my wife's good friend who was a
These
collegiate
are
rower.
these are the ones that Melissa and University of Portland.
Yeah.
So our friend is the coach of University of Portland rowing. They use those.
Yeah, so and that's what Nate's
It's
been
a
letting me
standard.
borrow. And those things new were $900. So I'm trying to find one used or new, whatever. I'm going to get one. But anyway, did that, and then Thursdays where my wife and I are playing zone defense with our kids and trying to be everywhere, and I just didn't have time to get a normal ride in there. Fridays are always easy ride. Saturday, I'm supposed to go do a ride in the morning. Wife and I are like,
You're supposed to ride with me.
Well, hold on. And
Matt was busy.
I'm not going to go do any rides. I'm going to go do something in the afternoon, and we're going to get this yard work landscaping stuff done that we've been working on for a long time. And this was like a big day for us. So I tell Matt, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be available today after 2:00 to come over and help you out. And so I was telling the story to the guys earlier. So my wife and I go outside, and we've got this whole terrace. It's got all of these paver stones. There's like 520 or 30 of them.
You're like, what's good for your back? A whole bunch of rowing, and then go out and lift a whole bunch of pavers.
There you
like,
go.
So
that's the recipe
we
for
pulled
back.
all of those pavers out. This whole thing was like through like erosion and time and settling and all this stuff. It's like all wavy. It's not flat at all. So we pulled up each and every individual paver. We're taking them down in stacks, like 4 or 5, putting them on the lower patio area, going back up and just rinse and repeat. We were doing that for hours, and then we're raking and shoveling and getting everything leveled. And then we've got these 4 massive stones that are like 1,000 pounds each that we had to get monkeyed into place and make them. And you have to get the 3 top ones off and out of the way so you can get down to the bottom one to make that one level first. And then you kind of work up from there.
Oh my gosh.
We were using this long like steel crowbar, pry bar type thing. And we wrangled those things for hours. And then we're like, all right, we're still going. We're still alive. We're still making progress. Let's go ahead and put the pavers back in place. So we went ahead and did that. So we had to take them all the way back up these stairs, lay them in place, get everything leveled. And then
That's like 1,200 reps.
it was
Did you
much.
like use sand to kind of help get everything level?
Well, it's got already a decomposed granite that's already there that you're supposed to use. And then once you get them in place, you dump the sand down and they kind of go into
settles in.
If
I did that, I would not be walking today.
Well, I also dug a 30-foot trench, and I dug a couple holes for a couple new trees that are going in the backyard because, I was on a roll.
Why didn't you ask me to come help, Jake?
I'll
I
tell
don't understand.
And
I need someone with a strong, good back.
I need
Good
someone
back.
with strong. I want
Hey,
to do
hey,
500
Knox.
shed
I
lifts.
need
Which friend do I have that's really good with their back?
got this awesome new
yeah.
Epix watch
How
that's
are you
great
liking
for
that?
telling time and all that other stuff. And I didn't want to scuff it up, so I took it off.
Oh,
and,
good. I'm glad you did that. Well, I mean,
exactly.
Oh, you should have
does have
Strava
a-
I had no
that.
idea what time it was, and the time just escaped me. And I looked down at my watch, and it's like 5:00. I'm like, well, crap, I'm only 3 hours late helping Matt out with this thing. And then I'm like, I'm going to go upstairs, take a shower real quick, get cleaned up. I sit down on my bed afterwards. I'm like, all right, I'm going to text Matt right now. And then my body just went, nope. I'm like, Matt, I'm so sorry.
And the thing that I need you for is like sprints.
It was
yeah.
All right,
I
Jake,
would
if
have
you're on
maybe put
fresh,
out 150 watts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well,
which was about equal to the amount of watts that I could put out when I was fresh on Wednesday.
yeah. And then I'm supposed to go do this awesome gravel ride with a couple guys on the team on Sunday. I could, as I put in my Strava post, every molecule in my body was just wrecked and sore yesterday. So I was barely able to get in an hour and a half ride on Zwift in the afternoon. But
How are you feeling today?
I feel good today.
Good.
Shoulders
That's
a little
good.
stiff.
Well, I'm
Like-
just glad you're like back, hamstrings, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because for me, that would be bad
Lift with
news.
your legs. Use your core, baby.
There you go.
Yee.
Good cross training.
I'd
But
be in bed.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the
Bad news.
question is, Matt, today's a holiday. The lab is closed.
President's-
We're-
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's President's Day.
and we are here just recording the podcast because we can. When I'm done here, I'm going home. Do you want me to come over and help you out? If you're already past that point, that's fine. But if you need me to
Yeah.
come over and make some numbers for you, you need some B-roll, or if you want me to bring any cameras or do anything crazy, I'm happy to help.
I think we are past that point.
Okay.
You're not going to sleep tonight, are you?
No, because I still have to do the talking head part. I still need to just like compare it to one more power meter and then do the talking head part, and that's basically when the editing starts.
Yeah.
Which is for me a very long process.
Yeah.
For 2 videos.
Can I help you with anything?
I don't think so. I think because talking head is just sit down, do that, and then you put that up there and you go through and you make all your cuts that way, and then you add B-roll and then some intros, which I kind of like to spend time on because that's a problem.
That's your thing.
But yeah, so I think the only thing that would be nice to have would be like some sprint stuff back and forth if you wanted to just go up and down a street and do some sprint stuff. The problem with it is it would require us to switch out your cleats with like speed play cleats. It's just
what size shoe do you wear?
Well, I wear like a 9.5, which is so amazing. Lance wears the same shoe.
We wear the exact same shoe size.
Same shoe size, same bike size.
Same bike size.
So it was so easy just to be like, and here you go.
I just used Matt's bike, and then he got some brand new shoes, which he desperately needed for his YouTube channel.
Yeah, actually, people were commenting on my YouTube videos, and they were like, dude, your shoes, you're looking pretty rough. And so
your old shoes did look super janky.
I specifically, I talked to you a while ago about ordering some shoes and stuff like that, and I just, we never got around to doing it. And I was like, all right, just get something quick from Amazon, something cheap, but they're nice and clean looking and kind of, and I'm
new.
I'm thinking I might just keep those for YouTube videos because there's a lot of times where you want like lots of video of a pedal if you're reviewing a pedal or a power meter or whatever it is. And so I think it's like, you don't want to focus on shoes that are just triathlon trashed.
Like my shoes
which
would be
is
hilariously disgusting.
Here's the deal. I've got shoes, of course, and I've got cleats on there that are the look style cleats. But I'm getting ready to change those out and put new cleats on there for training camp coming up because it's time for some freshies. I can take those off, and if you want me to come over and slap those on and just give you some numbers real quick, and I can even bring like a 360 camera if you want to get some video of it, I'm happy to do anything I can to help you out. So you say the word.
I think we'll just have to hold off on that one. I mean, maybe we'll get some like other time.
Okay.
It's just I do think switching off the cleats, like those speed plate cleats.
The speed plate cleats, they're actually 7 bolts. They're not 3 bolts. Yeah, there's like two. There's two sets. They're
like
there's
designed
a base
to strip.
Yeah, there's like a base and the clip part.
I also got David Goodman to do some testing. For me,
good.
Which was good because he actually spiked up to like 1,000 watts on one of his things.
He beat me.
No offense, Lance.
950.
950.
I think I hit.
But come on, wait. Let's give him the benefit of the.
No,
I only hit like 9. Just over 900.
Yeah, you were in that range.
Yeah,
but
David's fit right now, though. Don't feel bad.
But I was on the rollers.
He was having every time we put
we
did it a couple times, but every time we put the power meters on his pedals, we were getting like the left and right weren't communicating or something like that, and we're getting like half power. So it's just all bad data, which is a shame. Yep.
We had the same issue getting those pedals.
Yep.
When it took a while.
When
Remember, you had to like
and ever since you and I did
update the pedals.
Was that what it was? I don't think we updated.
You updated the firmware.
Is that what it was? So since when it goes from David's bike to my bike, I press calibrate and it's pretty good. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you just keep that in the back of your head. If you need help, I'm available for you.
You're around.
So this whole past week was crap, and to make it even worse, I completely failed Matt. And I felt terrible about that. And I
don't worry about
literally was broken on the couch in the bed for the rest of the night. So
I want to hear about the watch. You like the watch? Okay.
I love this watch.
Nice watch. This is the Epix watch.
The title of Matt's video was "I was all wrong about the Epix watch" or something like that.
It's clickbait. Come on, let's be honest.
It's getting great views though.
That's a clickbait.
Yes, that's what YouTube's for.
Best VO2 measurement ever? ?
Yes.
No, it's fantastic. Like at nighttime when it shuts off and it's dark, that's fantastic.
That's what
and
I
can
was
just tap
worried
it
about.
and it's got this like very, very subtle, like just to see the time that turns off really well. My other one, like I'd always be moving around and it will get like the heart rate monitor, the pulse oximeter will like blind you shooting laser beams into your eyes. And
with the
so
green
there
on
was
the
that.
bottom. Yeah.
But this AMOLED screen is fantastic. And then like the whole like wake, turn and wake to turn it on kind of thing. It works fantastic as well.
Is that way? You use it in the always on mode, so you're looking at like 5 to 7 days or something like that.
I haven't gotten below, I think, 3 days yet. So I take a shower just about every day, so I don't stink and all that stuff. And every time I get in the shower, I throw it on the I throw it on the charger and just let it be, and it just charges up. It's probably
Do you
not
have
ideal
one of those little circular puck chargers? Oh, this will change your life. All right, this is for all of our podcast listeners, or the ones that wear Garmin, which I know is not all of you. Amazon, you can buy these little circle puck chargers. They sit nice and flat on your desk or whatever, right? And they have the same cabling piece, but it just sits up.
Yeah.
And you buy 2 of them for $14. I could be wrong about the price. Maybe it's 2 of them for $9. Super cheap. You will love this little thing.
Really?
It's fantastic. Yeah, put it next to your bed or whatever and just slap it on there, clicks in. It's great. Seems like such a small thing. The other thing that's nice about it is, if you're one of those people, which I don't think any of us are, that like really needs their watch and they're going on a bike ride, you can actually wear that puck thing underneath your wrist because it's flat, right? And you can put your watch on there and it can charge with a cable to a power bank or whatever.
Look at that.
It's a weird look because you're going up an extra inch or something like that.
But still,
you could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Interesting.
I really like those little things. And, my wife also wears a Garmin. And so it's like, throw them all out there.
Nice.
We use it.
Cool.
I will send you a link or something. Or
Sounds
we'll
like a
post a
plan.
link to the show notes
For
for everyone.
everybody's
to
like,
check
dude,
out.
shut up about watches and let's talk some shopping.
No, this is what we're talking about here,
This is
people.
shop. Yeah.
All right, Matt's tight for time today, so we're going to jump over the other stuff and leave that for the last. And we're going to jump into our hot seat because I know that Matt's probably going to have to leave at some point in time here, so I at least want to get some hot seatness from him.
The
Some
hotness.
hotness. Who wants to go first? Anyone?
These are going to be like cycling related for me because the cycling season is right around the corner.
Well, that's better than triathlon related, or no?
Oh,
it's not better than triathlon related.
We can
but
do
I will
both.
say it's,
Yeah.
We'll say if you were just
The crux of
strictly
like
talking about swimming or something, it might turn off some of your
this is true.
listeners.
This is true.
Should we do this first, though? I mean,
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
I like the hot seat. I think it's like my favorite, one of my favorite segments.
it's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot.
We had somebody suggest that we go out to the Michael Myers time trial and have the podcast booth set up there and do a podcast and just take hot seat questions from everybody and make that be our podcast for the week.
That'd
I'm
be
like,
funny. I would do that.
that is a fantastic idea.
I like it.
We might,
as long as the weather's good or we have some sort of decent location for stuff.
yeah. I mean, if we've got
We
a
need good weather.
good tent and the weather's good, I think we'll take out the stuff and do it. So, all right, go, Evan. Hot seat it.
Okay, so there's actually a few that I want to bring up. The one that I'm going to bring up first, though, is not cycling related, but it is very, very sport related, and it's a hot question. So I want your honest opinion, not your. I want to make sure I don't make anybody angry. Answer, okay? Should any Russian athletes be competing in any internationally sanctioned events? Period. If they are living and training in the country of Russia.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be.
We can start with the Olympics.
Evan, what are you implying?
We can talk about the what the IOC.
The Olympics were a mess. It was a mess. Or the women's figure skating issue was a mess in the Olympics. It was, which
I think
was
as-
very unfortunate.
I will say, as you described that question,
Yeah.
no. If you're like a Russian athlete and you're training abroad, maybe in the U.S., and you're getting tested or whatever it is, and you just don't have any option except for to
If your only
represent-
citizenship is Russia.
right? Like you're kind of stuck. Like I don't like this whole, someone did something bad and you're punished for it. That's a tough situation.
Okay, so
That being said, there needs to be punishments for
But
state-sponsored
and
doping.
this is the thing is that like how, because I mean we all know there's a good chance that people can slip under rules if they're living abroad.
right. I mean, the whole reason behind the Russian Olympic Committee being able to compete at the Olympics or under the Olympics, but not the country of Russia.
ROC.
Yeah, is because from what I understand, anybody who was suspicious of being involved in the doping was already banned. So anybody who had any kind of suspicious test or ties with a certain person, I don't exactly know. It is Russia, so I don't exactly know, how it all happened. But anybody who had any suspicions weren't allowed to compete. It was all the clean athletes who had Russian citizenship who were able to compete under the Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
Here's the fine line, or the issue I have with that piece of it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If you are, you have to have out of competition testing done. And that's going to be very hard to do in Russia, right? Because there's just state-sponsored doping, right? So here's the thing. If you're completely clean or whatever it is, and you're not getting those, out of competition testing that's completely random or whatever it is because you're in Russia and they just don't have the rules for it. Like, that's not fair. You need to be being tested.
Yes. You should not be competing if you are not able to comply with IOC rules.
Correct.
And the IOC clearly has a ton of corruption within its own.
they got their
I
own
mean,
problems.
crazy corruption. I mean, you think about what just happened here was, so what this 15-year-old ice skater tested positive for, and this is a conversation that we were having on Saturday too, but I had with a couple close friends of mine, is I feel very bad for this 15-year-old. I really don't like that this became that her face and her name is now what is being demonized here because
She was crushed.
she is 15 years old.
15.
Let's remember this girl is 15 years old. She was clearly doped from a young age. Sure we can come with evidence. There was 3 different steroids that are commonly used in a cocktail that was tested that she tested positive for. This was not. She went out on her own and found this was a pharmaceutical concoction. So what that shows right away, and this is why it cracks me up. There was one guy on NBC who brought that up right away, and he was like, "Is this evidence of very organized doping of young athletes in Russia?" And people were like dancing around that answer. They're like, "Well, we need to look into the people around her." I'm like,
They
no,
don't
no,
wanna make enemies.
This is a smoking gun that Russia is still. If anybody here's seen the documentary "Doping for Gold," this is proof that they are still doing that. And it's obvious. I mean, if Icarus showed us that, if Doping for Gold showed us that, this is the same mistake again. Mm-hmm. So why is anybody who's living in Russia still competing in international competitions?
Because there's got to be some innocent people.
Well,
There's got to be some innocent people there.
But how do you vet that out?
I think
that's
here's the
sports,
thing.
man.
I think everyone that sees that is like, that's child abuse. Like
It
these
is child
people
abuse, yeah.
These people need to be in big trouble with this. But I will also say that she tested positive for drugs, and they like the reasoning for them letting her compete was this will cause emotional damage. Like that was the reasoning, and that doesn't.
I don't like that.
It was that. Plus, it was the fact.
I think her competing caused more emotional damage
that's what
for
ended
her.
up happening.
Yeah.
But I think part of it was there's going to be a court case. We don't know if she's really guilty or innocent. So with not knowing whether she's guilty or innocent, we're going to let her compete.
But she tested
Usually
positive.
that doesn't. Usually that's the
But she
opposite of
tested
the way
positive.
it goes.
That's why it was weird.
That I just don't think that you should. I mean, I feel for her because she's 15. I agree that this was like child abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that she should abide by the same rules that
She
everyone
should.
else should.
No, I agree.
She's
What
15,
should happen
she's
is
talented.
she gets pulled out of the competition right away.
Yep.
Her name, I wish, would not have been brought into. I wish it would have been. Now people would
she's
have
a
known.
minor.
But she's a minor. It should have been Russian ice
Protected.
skater. And you know what? Right after that positive test, if the IOC is actually serious, they should have said strike 5 ROC. This is done. Every ROC athlete done.
Go home
Right now. Go home. You are done competing. This already happened in triathlon. The Polyansky brothers.
Yeah, but then you. I think to do something like we're going to send all of the ROC home, you really have to say like this is state spot. Like you have to have that like
They have
the piece,
smoking guns, though.
That,
They
that
have
piece of it's
smoking
like
guns.
it wasn't just her coach doing it on his own.
Yeah.
It was the coach that was in connection with Vladimir Putin on the on the border of Ukraine.
It just to
about
me
to
is like
invade.
Russia mess
to me it just
What's up with
reeks.
Russia?
This
What's up with
reeks
Russia?
that it's. I think the reason I'm like so angry about this is like I love the Olympics.
Yep.
And like this
It's like
one-
all drama.
This one
The
man,
drama is
this one
wonderful.
man, Vladimir Putin, is destroying the spirit of the Olympics. The fact that he was in Beijing at the Olympics, watching that opening ceremony, watching this guy sit up there, you're just like, oh my! It just makes my skin crawl. Like I can't even. And then to see that they're doping kids, it's like this is insane.
But Evan, don't get too wrapped up
I will.
in the media coverage of it all, because not all the media coverage is probably correct.
No, I'm
or
sure
gets
it's
it right,
very
too.
biased, but I'm
And we
pretty
also
sure
need to be careful that the U.S. is not exactly
That's
a
also a good
perfect
point.
golden child.
No,
of-
we're not.
of
We're not. But
sports.
we're not that. We're not that right now.
U.S. track and field sprinting has a checkered past.
Yes.
Yeah. So does everybody who's run the 100-meter dash, though. You seen the dirtiest race?
It's
Literally everybody except for Carl Lewis tested positive in the 100 meters in 19. What year was that?
1980.
Right. Every
No, was that
person
80?
Was it L.A.?
84.
84.
It was 84.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
84.
80 was Moscow, and
Yeah.
we boycotted.
No.
boycotted that. Something like
Not any country is. I mean, we are like every single country who has put an Olympic athlete. It's probably has some history and absolutely has had issues.
that. Well, I just want to make sure
This
that
is
we're
different.
not like
Holier than thou.
holier than thou.
No.
It's a good point.
Yeah, but also you can holier than thou and then also say like Russia should not be competing in the Olympics again.
Okay, so your question one more time is:
Should Russia be competing in Paris? You can put it that way. Should any Russian athlete be competing in Paris?
no.
I think the clean ones can compete.
Here's the thing.
I agree with Lance. Burden of
How many-
it's the opposite burden of innocence is
Yeah.
on them.
How
They
many
have to
athletes,
prove-
though?
Yeah,
Like
I agree
Russia,
with Matt. Matt actually makes a good point there. I think it's
Yeah.
burden of innocence instead of guilt because clearly guilt can't be there's too much corruption in Russia. You cannot prove guilt in these situations.
You can't compete for your motherland, Mother Russia. You have to go affiliate yourself with a different country.
Yep.
And people do that
You
all the
be
time.
living
Like,
and training
there's-
in another country.
how many people were U.S. born, citizens in the United States, but they were competing for another?
A lot. Yeah.
A lot.
I can
So
think of a ton in track and field. Yeah.
that person, I mean, everybody will know that they're from Russia, but they're going to go and they're going to train.
Yep.
They're going to compete.
And you're getting
under
tested just as much as everybody else
exactly.
is. Yep.
As long as that institution that they're a part of is clean, then let them do the
And
thing.
this is, and I want to make this clear. I feel bad for the Russian athletes. I do.
100%. Yeah.
These are
The clean ones.
These are but I'll even say the dirty ones. I'll say the dirty ones because I genuinely do believe they are doping these people from young ages.
Yeah.
These people, especially their ice skaters, are in these programs at young ages. I don't think they have any idea what's going on a broad scale.
Yeah, just the gross indoctrination of what's going on.
It's
with them.
indoctrination, exactly.
They just don't know better. And
Exactly.
Like, sometimes you get there like, oh, wait, what? You know, and that little girl is probably learning a lot about what she's been doing this whole time. And she's like,
that's
oh
what
my
those
gosh.
vitamins were.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my wife was like, I don't think that they would use steroids on ice, figure skaters, and I was like,
Oh God, of course they
I was
would.
like, you're gonna be jumping higher. You're gonna be
Absolutely.
In endurance.
There's I would
In
think so.
recovery. Yeah.
The whole bit.
No lie. I think if you dope correctly in a sport like ice skating, that is just as beneficial as cycling.
Yeah, the
I
explosives
generally,
are ridiculous.
it is an explosive, a very explosive sport.
I think when you look at like
No, I treat ice
EPO or
skaters.
something
They
like
are
that.
very explosive sport. If you give, it's the same idea in 100
It's
meter
like
dash.
100 meter dash,
It's like
right.
the 100 meter dash.
they need the same cocktail as a 100 meter dash.
Actually, I mean,
this is like
probably pretty
this is-
close. Yeah.
This is the formula. I mean, this is not like a what should we do? It's like, no, you just follow the textbook of like this is what sprinters do.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Evan, you said you had a second question. You want to save
Yeah.
that or you want to go?
Oh, I can go real quick.
Go.
Will MVP be racing the spring classics this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Will he be,
Follow-up question.
Will he be 100% MVP?
Will he be competitive in?
Yes.
Sort of, mostly.
I think even if he's hurt, he can be competitive.
I think he's
back.
going to
that
pick and
good.
choose a little bit. So
Yeah. He should.
I think he'll
needs
probably
to-
wait till April.
yeah. I mean,
Because what's the first? I know we got. What were we talking about, Matt?
he's
E3 is
hurt
coming
right
up,
now, right?
Yeah, but he's like
yeah,
back to
we were looking
training
at-
from
yeah.
what I heard right now. Yeah,
excited though.
Milan San Remo is March
the
19th.
first. Yeah.
And then Tour of Flanders at the beginning of April.
See, I think that he would shoot for Tour of Flanders over. I think Milan
Yeah,
San
I
Remo's
think
kind of
so.
soon.
I saw something. I didn't get a chance to read into it because I was like broken this weekend. I don't know what the correlation is there, but something to the effect of there's one of the classics coming up and Peter Sagan wasn't able to go. Was it because his team didn't get an invite to?
Oh, I don't know.
Was that what it was?
I don't know.
Poor
Well,
Sagan.
it's because the team that
Sagan
he's on
just can't find a team that gets him into races.
It was like a race built for Sagan, but he can't go do it because his team didn't qualify for.
They didn't sign the paperwork in
I
time.
thought you guys would know this. I'm sorry.
His
I'll
team
read it
didn't-
next time before.
His team didn't register on active.com in time.
There you go. I think it
Oh,
had
it's got the
something to do
password.
with them not having a certain status or world
Gotcha.
tour or something or other.
Did we
It's
have
a smaller
bet?
team.
Did we have a bet on this podcast that Mark Cavendish would not win another stage?
That was me. I was just.
Did
Mark,
we? I feel like we went around, and I think it was
He's
like,
won twice already.
I
this
said a
year.
Grand Tour stage.
He won.
That's
let's
called
check
won
that's called
yesterday.
backpedaling.
Let's check the tape. Let's check
Was
the
it
tape on
yesterday
that.
or 2 days ago that he was throwing the big temper tantrum
No.
because somebody took his lineman, ended up getting relegated?
That was 2 or 3 days
Saturday, I
ago.
think.
But yesterday's race or last night's race,
Yeah.
he won in the Tour of UAE. He won the sprint.
But there's
Like-
nobody else really there.
He's still
No,
got to get
he
in.
was Sam Bennett and there and Viviani. They were all in the race and he beat them all. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what was an
Mark
interesting
Cavendish
question?
comes in an A fitness into these, and these guys are like just getting off the couch, and
Okay.
he's not going to win a Grand Tour stage again.
Here's an interesting question that, like, I think Evan and I've kind of gotten his take on this before, but time trialing. Is this someone else's question? Because this is the hot question right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
in
Let's
cycling.
just Matt go hot seat.
Go, Matt.
Time trialing. Should we just eliminate it?
Yes.
Not eliminate time trialing, but we should eliminate the time trial bike.
Time trial
trial
bike.
bikes.
Yeah.
Time trial bike.
I like that. I really do, but
I love time trial bikes. I love the time trialing. I love
Sure.
what it's become in the Grand Tours. I completely disagree with Dave when we were talking about this about it not being a big deal in Grand Tours.
It has been in history.
It's a huge deal. Pogacar versus Roglic is sometimes going to be decided on the TT bike.
But
And throughout history, I mean, it's been won and lost on the TT
but
bike.
I think Jake made a good point. Like there's a distinction between time trial
Yes.
bikes and time trials.
Should they just be
Whereas,
doing it
like,
on
if
road
it was just a road bike and they did the time trial, it still could be that same deciding factor.
It
and
still
could
would
still be very exciting to watch.
But I just love I love the speeds these guys can get to on these time trials. I mean, seeing these guys average 50K plus for 30 minutes, 45 minutes is insane. I love it.
But if it saves one more cyclist from getting, running into a
Broken
car,
femur.
broken neck.
Yeah.
Well, I think what they should do is they need to take out some of the technical aspects of these time trials. I think that some of the time trials in the Grand Tours, when you watch them fully, they're like, they're flying around roundabouts, stuff like that. It would encourage more guys that, hey, if you're practicing your TT, you can do it on the trainer.
But did you see why Egan Bernal crashed?
Oh, no, he was looking down.
He was, he was like, he was picking up speed and he was looking at the speed. He's like, I hit 56. He was going kilometers.
But
per hour.
also,
I hit 60. I hit 62. Whack! He hits the bus because he was staring at his computer. Why did Chris Froome crash on his bike?
He's never stared at his stem.
But here's the thing: Chris Froome took his hands off the handlebars.
He was trying to put on a rain jacket
Oh.
or take off a rain jacket. I think he was trying to put on a rain jacket and he lost it.
He's probably done 1,000 times.
Yes.
I mean,
and on a TT bike, you lose control of it when you don't.
We can say that has. It might be a touch too early to say this, but that effectively ended his career.
Yes.
No, definitely. I love for him. No, it absolutely did. But
he was on the way down.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay, so the same thing could be said about.
But
here's the other thing. That he's
when
on his
are
way
we-
down. Is his career?
He's still a pup, though. He's
No,
like, what,
Bernal-
23 or 24
Bernal
years
was
old?
on his
No,
Bernal's is they're both terrible, but Bernal's definitely took a younger career. Absolutely. I mean,
Bernal's
Froome
got a
had
lot
his
of bright
wins.
Yeah. Bernal's got a lot of bright years ahead of him still.
Yeah.
At worst, he's 25.
But I mean,
He's
here's
25. I take that.
Yeah.
here's
yes
here's
or
the
no?
thing is,
Kill the time trial bike. Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes. Can I
Kill
say
it.
why? No?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it's
Sure.
better
No,
for the
you can-
sport.
You think it's better for the sport?
Yeah.
I say yes, but if they don't, they have to be perfectly straight courses.
Okay. Kill the time trial bike.
no, keep it.
Okay.
Wait, all these crashes are on training rides anyway, so the
When
courses
are we
don't
gonna?
matter.
When are but where's the line on like what are we gonna do? Take away dangerous
Except for
descents
route.
next? Take away all of the dirt routes from Grand Tour?
No,
I mean, there's like
cycling's dangerous. It's just hard to.
It's
see
a very
people
inherently
hit
dangerous
trucks.
sport. Yeah.
it's not.
this is not me saying I want to see anybody crash, but yeah, you start down this slippery slope, and then I mean, like, where does it go? You know what I mean? Like,
but the
are we
time
going to
trial
be
bike,
racing in the eSports Championship here soon?
Oh, I hope so. No.
Oh, God,
But if you think about it, like, take a step back. Time trial bikes are weird as F.
No, they're dangerous. Of course they are.
They're weird. And
So is
they
riding a
don't-
mountain bike downhill.
Yeah, okay, they don't allow recumbent bikes in the Tour de France.
Well, okay,
They could have a what if they were like, we're gonna do we're embracing it all. We're gonna have one stage of the Tour de France recumbent
On
would
hand
you,
cycles.
Would you be like freaking out?
Yeah,
You'd
of
be-
course I'd be freaking out.
But then the more traditional thing to do, which you should be a proponent of, is kill triathlon bikes.
No, I mean,
I said triathlon bikes, TT bikes.
the original TT bike was cyclists. That was, you know, like when, what was it, Lamond who
Greg
very
LeMond.
first put the aero bars on his road
Right.
bike and dominated that
helmet.
race. And everybody's like, okay, let's do this thing.
Yeah, but maybe that was a mistake. Maybe we should have kept cycling pure Eddie LeMond style.
You know,
Eddie Merckx.
Eddie Merckx style. No, I like
Greg
that
Lem-
because
Greg,
he's
you
combined the two.
combine them.
Greg
He
LeMond
he
and
combined,
Eddie
he
Merckx.
combined
Combined
the
them.
two, which is good. Yeah, that's
Oh.
no, I don't. Yeah, okay. Here's the problem with it is I think that time trialing now has really become an ingrained part of the Grand Tours.
Sure.
It's a very important part of the Grand
But
Tours.
we're
It's an
not
important
saying
part
kill.
of their
We're
training.
not saying kill time trialing. We're just saying kill
the time trial bike. Yeah, and you know, no, I still lean
like it?
towards. I like it. I love it. I love watching those guys. I think it's a very specific skill. I think that being able to ride fast on a time trial bike is something that if you want to win a Grand Tour, you need to be able to do well.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, really the races themselves, I can't think of a huge crash in a time trial that like really affected somebody's career.
Okay.
Except for when Jan Ulrich slid out in like what year was that? 2003 or something like that.
What
But he
about,
jumped back on the bike and finished.
What about
but-
Chloe Dygert, the female
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
World
that's a good point.
Championships,
That's a good
winning
point.
and loses control, hits a guardrail.
Yeah.
Just about
That was a good
slices
point.
all the way through her quad.
Yeah.
That's been
Right.
over a year and a half ago. She's still not
Oh,
quite
and
back.
Woot's crash was
And
also
Wout
in
Van
the,
Aert
yeah.
sliced open his quad as
Yeah.
well, although he was out for like a month and now he's stronger than ever.
Yeah.
But
Way to
that's,
go, drugs.
But wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Human growth hormone.
But yeah,
Works every time.
but I think here's the thing though is, I mean, the ratio of miles raced in a time trial versus tragic crashes in a race cannot be more than actual bike race. I mean, the amount of Peloton crashes you have and terrible
there's
crashes
still
there.
there's just as many crashes.
I can look at Giuseppe Balacchi literally destroying his hip.
Yes,
Going on,
and he was never the same again either.
No. Oh, he never.
And that was
ever
just on
again.
a descent,
Yeah.
and his tire melted off his
Yeah, so
rim.
it's I mean, like, what do we do? Just take away dangerous descents, take away hot days of cycling, eliminate the UAE Tour, take away windy sprints.
I'm just saying.
Think about the big crash. Where
We're
do
not
the
saying
really?
we're not saying that we should eliminate time trials. I'm just saying the bike is weird. Do we
It
need
is.
it? And I don't. Here's my thing. I think if you eliminate it this year, I don't think that it would be a big deal. I literally think
Everybody would
go
adjust.
on.
It's still relative. You're still having the best human beings in the world
Yeah.
competing on bikes to
But
go
here's,
super fast.
I'll still make fun of cyclists for this. Now, this is Bernal and Froome aside, who I love both of them, and they
Sure.
are great and they are wonderful cyclists. If the UCI is going to ban time trial bikes, and I don't think that the best in the world can ride on time trial bikes, but we're okay with
Triathletes.
with the triathletes jumping on the road on one of these, then I get to make fun of the UCI forever. And I was like, oh, the time trial bike's just too dangerous for those cyclists. Just too dangerous. Maybe you guys should practice your bike handling skills like us triathletes, and then you can safely get on one of these things.
All right.
You guys just open yourselves up for too many jokes. And I like cyclists more than I like triathletes, so don't do that to yourselves. Because then I have to make fun of you for not being safe enough on time trial bikes to operate them well.
Gotcha. That's a good question, though, Matt. That's a tough one to go back and forth on.
It's a timely question for
Yes.
what I think is going on. I think there's real discussion going on right now.
I think I would love to hear just the pros takes on it.
I think they're all
because
gonna
they
be
mean
like,
way more.
Yeah, get rid of this thing.
No, you're like
They don't like
Filippo
riding it
Ganna
anyway.
right now. You can
Except
Filippo
him.
Ganna would be like, no, I think I'm
probably-
good on this thing.
there's probably a couple
I think I'll
people
go
that like
ahead
it,
and
and
still keep with the time trial
It's just
bike.
because it's fun to go fast.
Yeah.
And this is like technology. This is like biking technology down to the, millimeter.
Yep.
And so trying to find the least amount of drag, trying to find, everything you can do to make you go absolutely as fast as possible. That is very different than being safe.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why
Nobody signed up for
that's
this sport
why
'cause it's
people
safe.
like it. Because you go out on Lower River Road, man, I want to cruise at 30 miles an hour feeling like I'm
it's
not.
fun.
Yes, it's fun.
I can tell you it's a blast.
What would be interesting too is if they did eliminate the time trial bike, would they be like, you shouldn't have aero helmets? Like it's just gonna look weird if you have
Yeah.
aero helmets on a road bike,
Right.
because they would.
Don't
People
wear a
would
skin
do it.
suit. You're going too fast.
Right.
Let's just move this all inside, guys. Just everybody. Rollers are kind of unsafe. Don't race on rollers.
Esports it is.
Yep, here we go. That's the
Swift-
direct direction this is
Swift
going, okay?
racing.
I don't know, those Pelotons, you guys are a little bit too close to each other. How about we just do all time trials for everything, but on like recumbents?
How much would it hurt the industry, though, if they just
That's
turn
the
that
other-
off?
We were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because then it would be like all the bikes that were time trial bikes would be for triathlon, which would, and there already is this weird distinction because UCI doesn't, you don't have to have UCI compliant bikes for a triathlon bike. And so there are triathlon bikes that are different than TT bikes.
Correct.
Which is fine, but this would be a complete elimination. And I do think bike manufacturers are looking at this and they're like, not a lot of people are buying time trial bikes.
Yeah.
And they're not buying, if they are, they're probably buying a triathlon bike, which is a little bit different. And so I think, if you look at like Canyon or Trek or any of these companies, they have their TT bike that's kind of like their triathlon bike or whatever, but they've made a couple of modifications. That's got to be a waste of their time.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to have it because they have these pro teams that need it.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think that some of the manufacturers would probably be okay with it.
Yeah.
And then the question would be like, well, how long does triathlon last? Do they eventually just phase it out or something like that where they're just like, those poor triathletes are going to switch to road bikes?
God, could you imagine doing it?
They-
Everybody do your Ironman on a road bike. I'd love it.
Add
I think it'd be
40
great.
minutes
I'd
to your
love it.
time.
Yeah.
Just add 40 minutes.
Yeah, and I'd
Or
love to see
an
some
hour.
actual climbs and triathlons. I'd be like, this is my jam.
Right.
The
Please.
Pro
please.
Peloton would not fight eliminating it. It's the triathletes that would fight it.
Yes.
And I love riding a time trial bike.
Yeah.
Like I just like the position of like aero bars. I'm a big fan, but if the Grand Tours were eliminated, I'd be like, I don't think it's going to affect the race as much as, other UCI changes that they make.
Do you know who loves this idea? Is all of the ITU guys.
Yep.
They're
maybe.
like, we'll jump into all the Ironman races
Sweet.
now. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we hated those things anyway.
But they'll never do like drafting in like an Ironman thing. No.
Gotcha. Lance, got a hot seat question for us?
Never say never.
Yeah.
No.
What?
Jake, you got a hot seat
Jake,
question,
what's your
Jake?
hot seat
Jake,
question?
he was
You don't have one yet?
He was
Still working on it?
He was busy, man. He was busy, okay?
Listen, I had some quality time I needed to spend with my dog.
Busy,
Come
man.
up with a hot seat question.
I had to hang out with my son. Is he,
All right,
is he around
so-
here? No, I'm not my dog.
No. I meant
Family
my
time.
dog.
Family time, Jake.
The dog.
My hot seat question is, how do you guys deal with burnout?
Now you
Embrace it.
stole my hot seat
Embrace
question.
it. Do you embrace it, Lance?
I don't know. I was not.
You don't get off the couch?
You just
Just
For a
stay
week?
on the couch.
just stay on the couch. There's a lot of good video out there to watch.
YouTube's awesome, man.
It
really is.
To give a real answer to your question, I think you can avoid burnout by constantly looking at something that is slightly interesting to you. Like, who was the race director we just talked to last week? That red
Brian Simiotti.
Echo Red.
Echo Red. That race looks super cool, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's cool.
He was an
now,
awesome guy. I liked
if
him a lot.
you're, I think if you are looking forward to something like Echo Red, that race, it's that spark that you don't have to like try to win it or be good or get a PR or anything like that. But it's something where you have.
What if you're like
something,
just burn
little
out on your
carrot.
bike altogether? Like you're just like, oh, this feels like a chore.
Do a triathlon.
The notion of training feels like a chore. It feels like a job, and if I don't show up to my job, I'm gonna get fired. Or it's just like you're done. You just want to like walk away from it, or not forever, but at least for a while.
I
Like
think-
you're done.
I think you can. I think you can like take up rowing for a little while, and I think that's fantastic. I also think that cycling is unique in that it has lots of different avenues. Like, are you sick of like, oh, I just don't want to get on my gravel bike and go cruise trails?
Yeah.
Probably not. You're probably sick of like getting on Zwift and doing a workout.
Yeah.
Or the same road
Yeah.
route over and over.
I asked
Maybe.
this question because I feel like I'm dealing with a little bit of burnout. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's the stupidest thing I ever did, but riding for 500 days in a row,
Maybe.
that did me nothing. There was, I mean, yeah, cool, yay. Rode for a calendar year, rode for 500 days straight. That's fine and well. We did the Dialed 100, and that itself I think is great for a lot of folks. And then kind of take some time off. But 500 days in a row really kind of just turned it into a little bit of a chore. And I feel like I'm still trying to pull out of that funk. And Lance talked about this earlier. We've got a training camp coming up, and I'm like, I just put in 5.5 hours this week, and there was like one day of like decent quality work in there. For an hour and a half, that's not going to do me any services going to training camp. And I'm like, all right, I'll be back here.
See you at the top.
I think
My
I think you guys
guess-
will be surprised what the training camp does for you. though.
and
I think
every
you
year
will.
it does.
Every year,
It
yeah.
kind of reignites the fire. But
Yep.
we've also got the Mike Myers time trial. I wouldn't miss
Yeah.
that for the world. But like, I want to finish at a certain station, but it's like, all right, that requires a certain amount of training. I just don't want to do that right now. I want to go do other things. I want to go do photography stuff. I want to make videos. I want to go like dink around on my bike and just see stuff and not train. I want to just go be for a while. And I know that that's not going to do me any favors going into this. So I don't know.
Let's ask the exact same question to you again after training camp.
Yep.
My guess
that's a
is
good
that
one.
I think training camp is you already have a solution to your problem scheduled. So I'm excited to see how you feel after that one.
What the responses after.
Have you guys ever dealt with burnout before? Were you burned out after Ironman?
I don't usually feel too burned out for some odd reason. I take what I do after Ironman races. I have like a specific regiment that I follow, and basically I always feel very close to injury about 3 weeks after an Ironman. And so I always get in the pool a lot more frequently than I do and just, swim and stuff like that, as opposed to running and biking. In particular, I spend a little less time running. It's hard when the summertime is hit and you've done an Ironman and the weather's still good and you want to bike a little bit.
It's like a May Ironman.
But but I do think that swimming is such a nice, like, easy avenue. Triathlon's cool because you don't, if you're burnt out on one of the things, it's so easy to just hop in the other and do some other things. So I don't think I experience as much burnout, like mental burnout. That being said, right now, like, not motivated to do anything at all because everything hurts. So, I feel like I was talking to Lance about this. I was like, I'm giving up. Like, I'm not this week. Like, it's just a give up week. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not running, not swimming, not biking. Yeah, it needs to heal. But like, I probably could have done, 5x times more biking this week than I did.
Right. Easier on Zwift.
Easier, maybe even throwing some workouts in. Probably would have been good to have more data for this videos that I'm working on, and I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So,
how about you, Evan?
Yeah.
You train like
like crazy.
all the hours. Yeah. How long do you think that's going to be sustainable for you? And do you deal with burnout?
Yeah, I have a different answer from how I coach to me personally. So me personally is really how I've realized I'm wired and how I was raised, really. I don't deal with burnout basically ever, and I don't think I ever will. I deal with major fatigue of my central nervous system, which is, I've nailed it down that it's not burnout that I ever lose passion for, like, I want to get faster and better. My fatigue comes purely from, I realize that I am not as mentally acute in my job. My mood changes quite a bit. And that's when I realize, okay, I'm at the end of a training block and I need to start bringing down the volume. Mm-hmm. But when we're talking about burnout, I think we're talking about just kind of that, like, that momentary, for a lot of us here at the table, it's more momentary, like a couple weeks or months in a row where you're like, I'm not sure what I want my direction to be in the sport right now. I have been very driven, very one set mind towards certain goals that I know I'm not going to burn out on. And that's only because I realize exactly how I'm wired.
Good.
My mother raised me she always had very specific goals. And it's not that I'm goal driven towards one thing. It's that my primary goal is I'm going to get as fast at this sport as I can. Mm-hmm. And I see that in all three sports, and I see that only shifting between goals as I get older. Maybe that goes to ultras at some point. Maybe that goes to years of cycling. Maybe that goes to just a couple years of running. But with coaching, I take it really seriously because I realize that is not, and not that I ever try to, anytime we think that we're special on ourselves, there's at least 1,000 other people who think exactly like you do. But I know that nobody I coach outside of, I'll say, the one person I know, and I think he's listening to this now, that I know is pretty close to my own mental wiring is Josh. Yeah. I've realized me and Josh, if you wanted us to, we could sit there and talk nothing but triathlon numbers for an entire day and not get bored.
Yeah.
And we would amazingly board everybody around us.
Yeah.
But that is how we are driven towards that one goal.
Gotcha.
If you stripped away all the medals, everything, all the video coverage, and just said, go out there and race for this time, I would still do it.
Yeah.
But with coaching, it's really important because I realize that the sport is ripe for burnout. It is.
Yeah.
So I really try to shift people's goals around and make them realize that, hey, if you had this goal during this burnout point, that's okay. Embrace feeling burnt out, but that does not mean you stop doing this. And I've really started to realize that once I motivate people to just push through and just do it during those tough times, they always come out like a month later feeling like, oh, I got this like random new resurgence. What I do try to tell them is if you make the decision to stop doing this right now, the comeback path is longer. So if you, let's say you're like, I'm really burnt out, I'm not going to do triathlon for 2-3 months. Okay, that's okay. When you come back in 2 to 3 months, expect that's going to be about a 9-month return.
Yeah.
So if you have goals in May, they're not going to happen. And I'm really truthful about that. I don't BS people with that anymore. And I tell them, if you have actual goals, if you don't have goals, that's fine. Go do whatever you want, then come back and we'll get you through a race this year. Mm-hmm. But if you had a goal, toss that out of your mind because it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. If you take that time off and you're burnt out and you're done, goal's done.
That's where part of my problem is because I want, like, anytime I sign up for something, I want to do as well as I possibly can.
I've never seen you sign up for something and be like, oh, I'm okay, I'm just going to do it.
And before the whole shoulder thing, it was like, I'm signing up to win this race unless I've specifically said to a teammate, I'm going to support you. my goal is I want to go out and win that race now, or at least finish in the top whatever. And it's hard to do that now because I know that my shoulder is going to hold me back for a lot of stuff, and it is what it is. But and I have fun supporting teammates, but that's still a goal. Like, you still want to place as high as you possibly can, or you still want to be able to help a teammate out. And worst case scenario, you don't want to get dropped from the actual race itself. Yeah. And I know now that I know what it takes to do that, and I just don't feel like I have.
The motivation,
the time, the discipline to put into that to make that happen, and part of it's because I'm burnout, I think maybe, but
I think it's just a shift in goals for you, really. I think
and for
you're
me
just at
too,
a point where the goals have to shift.
And like Lance talked about in a podcast way back in the day, you can do 3 things really well, and right now, it's family. I've got a lot of family stuff going on and stuff going on at the house, and there's a lot of stuff going on here at the lab, and we've got a lot of stuff going on with the team, and I can go on for days about all these other things. And then there's training and riding bikes. That I don't want that to go away because I love that. That really is who I am. But the times that I've allocated to ride, and I think we're coming out of this whole winter time, and I think that I did that whole 500-day things. I think I'm just feeling like, ugh. Like the last thing I want to do when I'm tired after being up at 5:30 in the morning is to get on the trainer at 7 o'clock at night and ride for an hour and a half or 2 hours and put quality work in there. It just doesn't happen. So I need to get back to these, like, hey, we're going to go for lunch rides. And as soon as I do that, my whole mindset shifts because I go at a time of the day where I've got peak energy. I can allocate that block of time to go out there and put some quality work in.
That's another really good way to put it, is I think sometimes people burn out on the structure of their current training schedule. And I will switch some people's around if I realize oh God, their 7 p.m. workouts suck lately. Like I'll switch it around on them. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of work, and we've been working hard on the lab here and putting in lots and lots of hours. And you get home and you got family stuff, and you're trying to be a helpful husband and dad and running kids to practices and all that other stuff. And it's just one of those things where
it's really hard to do a solo workout at 7 p.m. I know you do this every night, but it's hard for.
Oh, it's not like I don't sit here and say oh, why can't everybody do it? No, I get that my goals in life are very different than somebody who has a family. Like this is why I hate whenever, and I have patients do this all the time, like, oh, I don't know when you fit everything in. It's like, no, really, it's not that hard for me. Like, I'm incredibly schedule-based. I don't know what else I do with my time. And I don't have the same responsibilities as somebody with a family or, somebody like yourself, too, where you have, a couple side projects that take up more time, too.
Well, I think that there's 2 pieces. I think, as we get a little older, we do get more tired at 7 p.m. It's hard to be get motivated and do a
but I can't use that excuse because I swear by 9 p.m. I'm asleep every night regardless. I'm out.
The other thing is I do think that there's that you can go do your workout. You're going to miss putting your kids to bed.
That's tough.
What's your, and then you just choose sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like tonight, I'll be working on some stupid video.
This is why my mom used to wake up at 4 a.m. Now I realize. I used to think she just liked to get up early for breakfast.
Early. Yeah.
That's you very rarely have blocks of time to yourself to do your thing. And so 4 a.m. is prime time, if you wake up early.
And I think it's too, we're also wired now to believe that you need to be I think as you become even slightly competitive in any of these sports, you think that means that you need to be competitive in them always, forever. And you can't just take that year where if Lance just wanted to be dude, I just want to jump on my gravel bike when we go to Nevada and just ride for the sake of riding.
Do you know how much pressure I feel?
Yeah.
At
why?
Races
it's all put on ourselves.
It's all put on myself.
Oh yeah. None of us are paid by Gatorade here.
Echo Red, right? Yes. You want to do that race, but you want to do well in that race.
I won it last year by minutes. And so I feel this pressure to
win it again. Why don't you do this? I have an idea. Ride it with me.
Perfect.
You have to stay with me.
Yeah.
And show me the lines
and
what to do, blah, 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 blah.
It'd be fun to start.
You know how slow you're going to go?
It doesn't mean that a year or two from now you don't lock back in and you're like, dude, I am all in on trying to win Masters, yada, yada. But you don't have to be that monster all the time,
Well, the frustrating thing for me is, I had this phenomenal year last year where I almost reached all the goals I was looking for. Not all of them, but I reached a lot of my goals last year. Mm-hmm. And then I imploded. My back that was completely out of my control.
Yep.
More or less. I raced myself into the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your body was going to force it off season at some
point. Yeah. And what happened was I lost so much fitness, more than I thought that I would. And really, I really shouldn't be that concerned about it, but it was okay, I can finally move again. Let's get back to training. And I go ride with my friends, and I'm just getting dropped everywhere where I wasn't getting dropped before. And I'm like, gosh.
But everybody's fitness fluctuates.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Well,
Everybody's
that's the easy thing
because
to
there were
say.
guys riding with you at that time who
You're-
were beating you before, and now they're like, God, Lance is beating me now. I'm in really, really bad
Yes,
shape.
I get
Not
it.
realizing that fitness fluctuates. So
Yes.
it's
Well,
yeah.
and you got to think to yourself, like, you're getting dropped by some groups, not
Yeah,
all
true.
groups.
Yeah, there's
like when you do the
you
Mari
don't drop
ride,
the Mari ride. Yeah, come on.
No,
you're fine.
Not those guys, but
Yeah.
and that's a great
regardless,
group.
I feel like okay.
Training camp could be tough.
I want to go race again,
Yep.
and I'm not
not at the
the
level.
February,
same
man.
pertinent
It's
person
February.
than I was. I know it's
But
just
you
frustrating.
could be back
Yeah.
by this fall for cross season, if maybe.
I don't even know how many cross races I'm going to be able to do because that's
how you're
what
back.
put me
Yeah.
into
That's gonna
that.
be a
What's
little
what
bit
put me
tougher.
out last year.
Sort of. I mean, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, but there's a lot of stuff that
also
piled
the
up
volume,
before
too.
that. I mean,
That's true.
It was the overall
When
volume
you
of
look
riding.
good, like
yeah.
physical therapist, there's just none around.
There
I
aren't
was-
any good physical.
I was
There are.
I was about to force you to let me coach you here at some point, just from looking at the way that you're training. I'm like, oh my god, this guy could be so much. I
Better.
don't even want to say faster because you reach to get so much more like healthy throughout the year as a racer.
Yeah, I think my
But
issue was that I'm more fragile than I thought I was. I'm like, oh, I can do this.
I was gonna say it was more sporadic than anything else, to where you put together training blocks where I'm like, yeah, that's about what a UCI pro is putting in volume and intensity wise, and then just drop off face here. You're like, my back is dead. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Well,
sense.
that's what I mean. Is I'm more fragile than I thought I was.
Hard to say.
I think we all are. Don't worry.
And I don't know how. That definitely led to some burnout because I'm like, okay, I have all these races that I want to do again, but I'm not going to be the same athlete that lines up at
don't
those
wanna race.
races.
So is
I don't
burnout
wanna
is
race.
burnout at the end of the day? Do you think anybody really burns out when they're like nailing their goals and progressing and moving? I think burnout seems to happen in these little plateau phases the most.
Yeah.
And I think that that's because this is more into the sports psychology of how we look at ourselves. So the only thing that I will say that the pro field and triathlon has done for me, which I think is great, is it gave me a very unattainable goal. So like everything I progress, I'm really not going to ever, like my goal would be to win a race. Never going to happen. Like I have
Never
had to
say
be,
never. Never say never.
I'll never say never.
Just a
It could
few
happen.
percent more, Evan.
Yeah, I'm only 1% off. That's a lot of time and a half Ironman. But that's I think that the problem is sometimes, and Lance, you went up and started winning a lot of Masters races. You started this big, ascent. During that ascent, I was seeing zero burnout in you.
Oh yeah.
Because all you were talking about was like whatever the next race was. You're like, I gotta smoke these guys in this next race.
And I would take easy days during the week.
Yeah, but that was, I mean,
But yours
everything
was
was
like,
yeah.
easy.
It
I
was
need
just
an easy
tunnel
day here
vision.
so that I can race. The
Yes.
next
It
day.
was just
Correct.
tunnel vision on race after race, and that was only gonna last so long.
True.
And I think that you hit a plateau, you get an injury, you hit a descent, you hit another plateau, you try to come back a little too quick, you hit another plateau. It's
I
like
dropped again over Christmas. I mean,
you're just in that time period now, but I think you need to just take the 2,000-foot view and realize like, oh no, I gained a ton of fitness over this time period. I'm just in a slump right now
Yes.
and need to respect where you're at and build back from where you're at, not where you think you are.
I think you also like one good thing is like ask yourself questions. Is it going to be more fun to go to the cyclocross race and participate, or is it going to be more fun to just stay home and do what? And I'm not telling you what the answer is. Do what everyone's better. Like I think last summer I did 1 or 2 triathlon races.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew where I was fitness wise because I wouldn't always win those triathlon races, but I'd be in the front.
Yes.
I wouldn't have beaten Evan, but I would have beat the majority of the people in there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was
When you were racing your
not
Ironman,
there.
I'm sure you could have gone to PDX
Well,
and been top 10.
I won the Columbia River race.
Oh,
or
Columbia
whatever.
River race, yeah.
And I
Outright.
had the course record until Nate came along and broke it, and then you broke his record.
Oh, was that Nate's record before me? Sorry, Nate. Yeah.
Sorry, Nate.
Sorry,
But
Nate. Yeah.
But the point is, like, then I go out there on my road bike.
Actually, I think Keller
I have-
Norland holds that now.
You're
No
just gonna get
expectations.
passed.
Yeah.
You're gonna get passed out there.
Yeah.
And I think, but like you and I still had a good time heckling people.
We had a blast.
And I
And I didn't race.
And
Yeah.
but here's
Yeah,
the thing.
seriously.
I think that the like I made an excuse up, right? Like, oh, I'm here. I'm just going to be here to film stuff, and I'm going to be in the race to film stuff. And that's a total BS excuse to help me like accept the fact that I'm not going to be on the podium or whatever it was, right?
Yes. I think you won your age group anyway.
I still had fun, and I did well. But
but like
you could easily do the same thing. You could strap 2 cameras to your bike and be like, I'm here to film some stuff for the YouTube channel, and like we're gonna make it fun.
I'm gonna wreak havoc and film it.
And heckle people as you go. But I think that like mental, crutch is a great way to get back out there and participate and have fun and make it enjoyable and have it be better than chilling out on the couch.
I have a solution for you. We're going to kick you off the team.
I'm out.
We're kicking off the team, and you're going to go race for the Russian National Masters team, and you will be just fine.
Done.
I know, right?
Hey, how did Lance get so fast?
Come back in a year and be like, haven't had an injury.
Human growth
Period.
I'm
0 injuries.
I'm actually looking into this
Feeling great.
This Russian Olympic Committee and
I'll
seeing
tell you
what can you do for me, Russia?
Matt LeGrand and Lance Hepler competing for the ROC in Paris.
I need something for the Achilles.
Yeah.
What you got? Got?
Aren't you Irish in your
Oh,
past?
yeah. Russian.
Mostly Irish.
Just Russian.
Pure
Russian.
How many Russians are going to hate us after this podcast?
I genuinely appreciate Eastern European culture so much. I have friends who are Eastern European, and they are awesome.
We have teammates.
Awesome
who are Eastern
culture.
Europeans.
They are.
Yeah.
No, it's like I was saying. My
Wait,
anger
and they're
from
really
this
fast too.
My anger from this comes from what I think they're doing to Russian athletes.
Yeah.
That's
right.
what's
Absolutely.
angry. That's what makes me furious about this.
It's bigger than than them.
If this was just American kids, I'd be like, whatever. No, I'm joking. I'm completely joking. I'd be like, I don't like American kids anyway.
Okay,
No.
so take this in a different direction.
This is your hot seat question.
Here's
by the way.
my hot seat question. We have 3 or 4 teammates who were like super involved and at every team ride that have just kind of ghosted here in the last year or 2. We have a couple that were super involved that have just haven't been involved at all. And I'm guessing
pandemic can be a big part of this.
Yes, and I'm guessing, they also dealt with a whole bunch of burnout. So
are we going to throw out names here?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
but how do we
Matt LeGrand.
how do we help those people? How do we help those
people?
that you
That's
can
a great
see
question.
That
I think
that maybe have had some
we start
burnout,
doing social events again, which I think is just going to naturally come along in 2022.
Team pizza night, things like that.
You still got to reach out to them. You still got to give them.
Well, I think it's also like, this is not the reason I went and hung out with Matt on Saturday, because I love just going over and hanging out with Matt anyway. But like, I knew that you were like injured and laid up as heck, and like, I had a free
I'm not coming on
evening,
those
and I'm
Friday
like,
mornings.
No,
that's not going to happen.
No, and I'm like,
not looking good.
I just wanted to come out and like hang out with Matt on Saturday. So I think it's just also us reaching out and like.
The other thing is
sometimes people feel like the only way they can hang out with their endurance sports friends, is doing that. I mean,
like I can't go run with you anymore.
Yeah, that's fine. And me and Matt still hang out. It's great. Yeah.
But if you're thinking of people that are cyclocross specific, there might be other jobs at a cyclocross race.
Yeah,
that you could reach out and be
is
like,
a good example.
Hey, we need help in the pits. Like we know,
those things.
Like don't come race. We would like you to. If you want to race, great. But like we could actually use you not racing in the pits or whatever.
We just had a big juniors meeting right before this, and talking about that is, I think, people who are kind of
involved in juniors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's
exciting.
like I'm definitely heading a lot of that with my schedule loosening up a bit here, and me and Cassie will be kind of heading that for the triathlon team. But for anybody on the cycling team, absolutely, like volunteering at helping the juniors rides go smoothly this spring and summer, because that time's coming around where there's going to be juniors on these rides.
Sure.
And all of that being around the sport, it's just going to get them through a burnout or more motivated to train. Or
absolutely.
I will say this. I only rode twice this last week, and both times I rode were because somebody else asked me to.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
one was Matt needed help, and I was happy to do it, and we had a blast all afternoon filming in your garage. We had a great time.
There's not always a clean, easy answer to burnout. So sometimes it is really like you just force your way through it. Be like, all right, I don't want to ride today. I am going to do this thing. Jake did that for 500 freaking days. I mean, that's like
501. Don't leave that last
501. That's an important last day, actually, because I would have stopped at 500 for sure. But like, I mean, I think that's it's the same idea when you look at it in a smaller point of view. And I'll just think of like, when I was doing like a little ultra, the Everesting, or I know my buddy who does like ultra mountain bike type stuff. There's always that time period where like, this is not fun anymore. So not fun.
Yeah.
An amazing amount of not fun. And that was, I mean, like, When you started riding with me during Up the Everesting, if you would have told me at that point, like, Evan, you just get off the bike, I would be like, okay. I just would have gotten like,
Right.
like
It
we
was
had
just
gone
done.
we had gone on one of those, you would have been like, hey man, I think that's close enough. You'd be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna go and get off now. Same idea when I have a buddy who's done, some crazy mountain bike, and he's told me he has to talk to himself during it.
Kit?
He no, not
different guy?
not Kit, but Kit will be talking to himself when we do Telluride together. Kit will be yelling at me and talking to himself the entire time. But Ryan Petrie, the guy who did Vegan Cyclist Telluride with him.
Yeah.
So he's the roommate. Used to be the roommate of my best friend Chris. One of my best friends, Chris Lee.
Oh yeah.
And Petrie used to talk about this all the time on his like longer mountain bike rides. He calls it the suck zone, and it was like a time period of those longer rides where it is not fun anymore.
There's nothing
There's
fun about
full
it.
burnout. No
Yeah.
fun. Zero fun is being had.
I got to get through this
Yeah.
section.
And I think that we just need to extrapolate that out to, over a 10-year endurance career. It is anything but, everybody at this table knows this. It is not sunshine and rainbows for 10 years. This is sometimes as a PT, I feel like I'm like constantly the bearer of bad news whenever people are like, I just want to run pain free, or like, I just want to bike pain free. And I'm like, you will for a little bit, but I promise you at some point, there will be pain again. that is the only thing that I can promise you is if you build up enough resiliency to when you go through those time periods, you're going to be okay long term.
Yeah.
The problem is when we hit those time periods and then you're just like done. Like not like, oh, I'm done, and then Lance is back on his bike tomorrow. It's like done, and then you don't get back on a bike for 3 years. It's like, okay, now we hit a time period that's tough to come back from.
I burned out on triathlon and have not been in the pool since 2005.
Yeah. Come swim.
It's a good thing you still have the bike.
2005.
It's a good thing you still have the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I completely washed out of that.
So did we answer your question? Like, how do we get that?
It's a wishy-washy answer. Yeah. We talked around that.
There is a question.
We talked
just
around that a
around
bunch.
it.
So how do we keep them involved? How do we get them back? Or
Yeah, it was just, how do we involve the people that you see that are your friends that
sometimes
are burning
it's
out?
forced that you're going to be off the bike. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're just burned out. But I think at the end of the day, we're all still friends. That's a common denominator.
Yes.
So like when I was sitting in a hospital bed, or when I was sitting on a couch recovering from a surgery, or when it had been like 4 months since I'd been on a bike, like I'd still have friends reach out, hey, how are you? What's going on? What's new? What are you thinking about? What do you want to do when you come back for this? Just like asking them those little questions, just to almost like keep me involved in the community, plant those little seeds. Like maybe I do want to think about what's coming back, or maybe I do want to put something on the counter. Maybe I want to try and accomplish something. So little things like that, and just touching base with them. Like there are people on our team that, like you said, that we really haven't seen much of them lately. And, I miss those people because they're good people. And hey, let's go grab a beer, even though I don't really drink beer right now. Or let's go have a coffee, something like that.
Grab
just
a non-athletic
just to
beer.
see how they're doing.
Non-alcoholic beer.
Because at the end of the day, we're all friends. We're teammates, but we're friends first. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
What if your friend says, I'm busy on the couch with my dog?
Then you have a hot seat question of
over there.
talking
You
about
ride
burnout.
to the house. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you say we're turning on an old bike race to get you. We're going to
Not
go
for
watch the
nothing, Lance.
1989 Paris-Roubaix.
I half thought about riding to your
Just
house
ride to my
yesterday,
house.
and then I looked outside and like it was sunny, and it was pouring rain. I'm like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not getting on my bike. And because Lance has done this to me before, he literally will like be at my front door, like on the door.
Let's
I'm like, he's sitting there and his kid on his bike. He's like, let's go for a ride. I'm like, you son of a biscuit eater. All right, give me a minute. So
If somebody would have done that yesterday,
you would have gone.
I would have gone.
and we would have had the best adventure.
Yeah,
so.
right.
And that's what Lance could even read the email to you or the text message that I sent him. Like, hey, let's go for a ride. No agenda, no route, no nothing, no
I love
time.
brothers.
Let's just go get on a bike and go for a ride. And Matt and I used to do those at lunchtime all
great.
the time. They were
They're
fantastic.
so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
And sometimes you just
Sounds like-
lollygag around at 14 miles an hour, and sometimes you tear each other's legs off at 24 miles an hour.
It sounds to
It's
me
all
like
fun.
the Matt, Jake, and Lance lunchtime ride crew needs to come back.
It needs to come back.
I think this spring.
Close.
We are having this conversation in February, and I do think that that's part of it. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
different
February.
conversation in July.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation. I just don't
Absolutely.
think that there's
It's
more
true.
motivation.
Yeah.
So I think
when it's warm and sunnier.
I wonder if you go
Yeah.
back and you listen to our podcast last
Well, it's probably every
February
year.
timeframe, if
Every
we always
year.
are like, "Well, no, we're so burnt out.
Why do
We're
I do
so
this
burnt
sport
out."
anymore? I think I'm just gonna quit and like build.
And then in the summertime,
build
we're
backdoor
like,
rock
"Did you see
structures.
what happened at the tour? I just want to go ride.
I
you know
did
what?
20 by 1 minute efforts for no reason yesterday because Pogacar.
So much fun."
I bet you there are a lot of people out there feeling the same thing right now.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah.
we're with you. We got you, fam.
We are with
Yeah.
you.
We'll work through this together.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Let's call that a wrap on the hot seat. We're going to talk about a little lead out news. I think maybe possibly, is there anything there?
Ending with the lead out news.
Champ
Nice.
Bailey, top 5.
Champ Bailey. But beforehand, Matt's got to leave.
I'm out of here, guys.
Matt, one last thing.
You got to finish those videos, man.
I know, Matt, don't stay up late.
I'm going to stay up late.
Watch Matt's YouTube.
Go watch the videos. That's all.
Go watch the
But they got to
videos.
be Matt's.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll see if they're
Comment on those pages.
They
too.
might not be out. Depends on what happens after
Comment.
this podcast.
like, subscribe, and hit the dingy bell thing.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Matt. We'll catch you sooner than later, hopefully. All right, let's come back to this guy.
Champ Bailey, top 5.
I think he's in the top 5 discussion. I mean,
I don't know, top 5, maybe top 6, but go ahead.
Champ Bailey is here. A bunch of unimportant races happened this last week.
A lot of racing in the Middle East, basically.
There's a lot of racing that's been happening, but they're all they're all weird small
the early
races.
season stuff. Yeah.
A tour all Agave.
Paris-Nice is coming up soon, though.
Yeah. The UAE tour started. There was a tour. There was a tour that that Evan Poel won.
Was that Tour Algarve or something like in Spain?
Algarve, yeah,
was it Spain?
Something like that. Yeah.
I watched those stages because those were pretty exciting. There was, oh no, wait a minute. Am I thinking of that wrong? Was that what's the Quintana?
Oh boy.
There we go. Was that the what was the Quintana and Alaphilippe race?
That was the
Tour
Tour de Alpes Maritimes, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
See, there's so many races that
Remco put together an insane time trial, though. That was
did,
yeah.
And there was a big.
I dislike Remco as much as I dislike Cavendish, but I watched that and I was like, oh boy, he's really really fit right now.
He's pretty solid. And then Quintana won
who's solid?
the race.
Who's solid?
Evan Poel.
Oh, Evan Poel. They're your favorite. Sorry.
I know.
I've had
I
to
hate
get up and
this
run
guy.
out of the podcast room like 15 times because the door keeps. We're supposed to be closed today.
Jake said like
I should have locked the front.
Why did you lock the front door?
Because I was trying to be hospitable to you guys.
Jake is like 2,000 steps in already just during this podcast.
It's running back and forth. People keep coming in.
Who else did you talk about?
But yeah, Remco looks fit.
Okay, Remco, yeah.
We talked about, was it La Provence? No, is that the race that Quintana and Alaphilippe were at?
We talked about that
yes.
last week, I think.
So that was a great like Queen stage on that climb because it really did show like Alaphilippe is in good fitness, but he was not wrong when he said he's like, I'm not ready to like
he actually
go fast. Yeah, he said that.
He cracked.
Yeah.
He cracked on the climb.
Yeah, Quintana showed he is still, if anybody was wondering, I wonder if Quintana's going to still be able to win stages. Yeah, he will. He still can climb, and he can drop just about anybody if he wants.
And he won that Tour de Alpes Maritimes or whatever. And
wasn't Ghana in the lead going into that last?
No, he was still in the lead because he'd won a. But yeah, Felipe Ghana was
in the lead going into it, and I know they like.
I think he tested positive though and had to drop out.
Wait, what? Filippo Ganna?
No, that was Gaviria. See, I'm getting them all.
Nobody listened to that. Filippo Ganna, the Italian hero, is completely clean.
Not
100%.
drugs. We're talking about COVID.
COVID.
Oh, COVID. Gotcha.
Yes, not.
Got to turn off the Russian.
Oh
filter.
God, I know. I was about to say, I was like, nobody disparages. I love Filippo Ganna. Nobody disparages this man's name.
I think Gaviria won a couple stages and then tested positive for COVID and was like, okay, I've got to go.
Well, he already got stage
so
one,
that was interesting. The Quintana race, though, second overall was Brendan McNulty, who showed some pretty solid early season form in a bunch of races that don't matter at all.
And it was great because he even said he felt like he did not do the time trial well. He struggled in the time trial.
Yeah.
And was still looking awesome.
Yeah.
So
he was only a minute back. And then, we already talked about Cavendish won a couple stages of the UAE Tour.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Still an asshat.
Oh my God. It's like
he threw a fit. He threw a fit.
I
on
don't
the
even
finish
know.
line
I don't even know why we report on
yelling at people.
Early season sprint stages. To me, are the most I don't care. I just don't like. Anybody was like,
to use this as a launching pad to get on the TDF team.
Yeah.
He wants to go race the tour. He wants to break Merck's record, and he's throwing a temper tantrum because he lost his line. Somebody supposedly drifted a little bit too far to the right.
So the guy who won the stage, can't even remember who it was right now, but his lead out guy pulled off.
Well, he was going for it as well. He got out. He didn't hold his line.
He pulled off, but didn't drop. He just I'm going to keep sprinting for top 5 because I'm so close here. And he kind of squoze Cavendish's line a little bit.
When
Not
has
so much-
Cavendish not done that stuff?
The
though?
road tapers down just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
So I think as the road's tapering, it makes him look like he's like kind of deviating a little bit to the right. And even if he did deviate, it wasn't that much. Once you start your sprint, you have to hold your line. You cannot break your line, and that's what they're saying is he broke his line.
But isn't Cavendish always the one who says you need to be responsible for your front wheel? Was that Cavendish and Sagan or always whenever
Probably,
people like try to say like, oh, they went offline their sprint, they're like, be responsible for your front wheel. I can distinctly remember Cavendish saying that after a couple stages.
Cavendish is
after his headbutt.
Yeah.
Too. I remember that was his one thing was like be responsible for your front wheel.
Speaks out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah,
so it's one of those things. If it benefits him, that's his
Exactly,
opinion. That's what the rule is for the day. So
Anyway.
still an asset.
Yeah. Not a fan.
There's not a lot.
This is coming from a guy whose max sprint is like 850 watts. So, his max sprint is literally double mine. Like very literally 2 times as good as mine. But I still don't like him.
So I don't know if there's not a lot of other news to talk about.
No.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Good times. Nothing in the triathlon world?
No, we got some draft legal racing coming up. In South America, Mark Dubrick was on the podium in one of the races, and that's basically it. We will have, as we get into March, April, we're going to start talking about the World Championship in St. George this year, which is going to be fun. But I think that's kind of the direction everybody's gearing towards is St. George.
Cool.
All the other early season races for the long distance folks don't matter, really.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool beans.
Camp out.
Champ out. All right. We're going to do a Patreon next week. We're going to do a Patreon draw. Well, actually, maybe not next week. The week after that. When we get back from training camp. We'll get back to doing some drawings because I've got some stuff that's building up here.
What day do you guys leave?
On Saturday.
Saturday. Nice.
This comes out Wednesday. I'm
and
leaving
you guys
tomorrow.
will be back Friday or Saturday of that next week.
They fly back the following
Saturday.
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 Yeah.
Gotcha.
Saturday.
I will not be coming back. I won't be here for the Michael Myers because I'll be in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
Turkey.
Come on, just fly back for it. We
Get
get
on
a
a
bike
plane.
for you.
I'm driving
No.
van.
Park your van at an
Just
airport.
jump-
fly
yeah,
home,
just
do the
jump
Mike
on the-
Myers, and fly back.
Yeah. Come
I'll
on.
pick you up at the airport.
Come on. You could fly out that same day. Really. Come in. We'll pick you up in the morning.
Will be with me though.
We'll,
Yeah,
we'll-
fly in
just-
Alaska. Fly
I
for
can
free.
borrow Matt's bike.
Oh,
actually.
you only have one bike?
Well, all my good bikes will be with me.
How about this?
one?
I'll get a tandem
Just
bike. We'll do a
leave
tandem bike
one.
together.
Yes, I will do a tandem
Yeah.
time trial. That would be a blast.
Seriously, Evan, would you
Yeah.
do a tandem with me?
Sure. I've never really ridden a tandem bike before, to
I've
be
ridden
honest.
a tandem bike twice.
I never
Oh,
have.
God,
This
is
is
that, I'm not sure if that's safe for us.
What's the difference? The guy in the back just
That
just
turnaround
power.
point there?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to have to. I'm not sure if I'm
Just clip
comfortable
out
going
through
around.
it, but
Yeah,
we
we'll just
can
turn the
motor.
bike around at that point.
Do you think you could handle the front and I could stoke?
We could probably handle it.
Like, if
Yeah,
you-
I could probably handle the
Because I don't know
front.
if I'm going to get low enough or arrow enough.
I could probably handle the front. Yeah.
And I'll just like put out watts
Oh
for.
my gosh.
We
That
probably
would
need
be
to get on
fun.
it just to practice first to make sure we actually know how to ride one of these things.
No.
Yeah.
No practice.
No
That's
practice,
the,
go
that's the
from
beauty
there.
of it. Just go
Like
for
they average
it.
12 miles an hour, mostly because they were getting off the bike at every turn.
All right, to be continued. Let's do one last thing, Evan. Go. One last thing from Evan Price.
I'm calling out Shabadoo here. Dr. Hanel, I want you to come on the podcast before the Mike Myers time trial. So that will be the week that Monday before.
Row.
And we need to have a WWE style like weigh in like talk, like battle.
What
like
kind
interview.
of wager? What kind of wager are you proposing?
I am willing. I don't want any money with this. I'm proposing. Oh man, I need to come up with a good wager for this. A good wager.
Like he and I
I
have done
would be
wagers quite a few
willing to
times,
do-
like mustache stuff. But you've already got a mustache and a beard and all that other stuff.
I would be willing to do a wager that would involve a race that neither of us would like to do that the other one does. If I win, Handel has to do a triathlon, and if he wins, he gets to choose.
Dude, I'm
I have to ride on him with a tandem for 100 miles or something.
So there's a good chance that this is going to be a time trial series.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 more of these things to come.
I need to put this in my.
How
I need to
about
make sure
the
I can make 'em.
loser races in Speedos?
Oh, I'd be down for that. That would be funny.
And you have to glue,
Fully shaved.
Fully shaved.
You have to glue
Yeah.
your number onto your torso.
Yes.
I could be down for this.
Dude, that could be funny.
I
as
could.
all
We need to
get
bring
out.
on Dr. Handel that week, and we will have a WWE style SmackDown.
Oh, jeez.
I'm saying this knowing that he's going into that training. He's going to come out of that training camp so fit.
Yes.
He's already
I'm
He's
gonna be
already
fast right now.
stinking
I'm going to
fast
be in
and
trouble. I am very nervous about how fit he's going to be. I wish that the Mike Myers time trial was the week after I have my big volume week, but it's the week before, so I might be in trouble.
And he's doing secret training missions on that TT bike.
This is
why
he doesn't ride on Tuesdays with us anymore, because I know he's doing secret intervals right now, and he doesn't want me to know what his threshold's at.
"Quote unquote family time."
Exactly. Cool. I'm in
Awesome.
trouble.
Mr. Lance Epler, one last thing.
I'm going to plug Matt LeGrand's YouTube videos that will have come out yesterday. If you're listening to this,
No pressure, Matt.
if he actually finishes them. Wahoo is coming out with 2 brand new products: a roller, a set of rollers, which were really quite cool. They were you didn't have to take anything off your bike. Your bike just like slid into it like super easy. So
How did it feel? Was it smooth?
it was pretty smooth.
Are any resistance in the rollers?
So they are called smart rollers.
Sure.
And it does have a flywheel on it.
Okay.
So that it can increase, you can run erg mode with them.
Oh, wow.
Which
Okay.
is pretty cool. But they don't have power in themselves. It connects to a power meter from your bike.
Okay.
So
How portable are these things?
they fold down pretty good.
Okay. Is it something that you would invest in, keeping the Lance Epler van?
It's not as portable as taking an Omnium trainer from Feedback Sports, but you don't have to take anything off your bike.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's super easy.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out.
So
I'm so bummed that I missed going over to his house to do all that stuff. I wanted to help him out first and foremost. That was the most important thing. But I wanted to go check these things out, and
it was cool to check out and look.
It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah,
yeah.
The other piece of hardware that Wahoo came out with is their Speed Play power pedals. And
so many people are gonna rejoice and say hallelujah finally, because they've been plugging these things for the longest time.
We talked about this 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I've had people asking me on a weekly basis, are they out yet? Have you heard anything? I want some. Let me know.
They come out Tuesday.
There you go.
So they should be released Tuesday. So hopefully, I got to try them out, and they seem to work pretty well. We had a little bit of issue with the right ones talking to the left one properly, and so that your devices were picking up both sides.
Gotcha. Is it a pre-production issue maybe, or do you think this was the final production model that could have some issues with it?
This is the final production model that we got. It was what he got so that he could test them.
Yeah. A lot of times, though, when they send that stuff out early, it just depends on how early it comes out. It's pre-production stuff, but that's so close to the start date of when they're going to actually launch, or the launch date. That had to have been a production model.
I think he got them on Tuesday last week,
and
we recorded everything on Wednesday.
Yeah,
and so
interesting, cool.
So it should be interesting. You'll see me sweating and sprinting, kind of sprinting on rollers.
Is the handlebar mustache? I need to go do a max sprint right now, because this might be the only time I'm ever going to put out a bigger number than you. But I still don't like my odds. I still don't think I can touch 900 right now. No. You touched 900, right?
I did.
Oh yeah, I'm not touching.
I got over 900
you got me.
on the rollers, which was weird because I didn't want to just jump on it. I wanted to ramp up, and it's hard to.
Yeah, it's weird sprinting on I love sprinting outside. I really hate sprinting on trainers. I never like to torque it side to side. I always feel like I'm going to snap
the front wheel is locked, so those handlebars don't move at all.
Oh, that feels weird.
Yeah.
So, they're locked, and you didn't want to get too far off the saddle and lose traction on the rollers.
Yeah, so you got to stay in the saddle. Kinda.
So I didn't stay in the saddle, but I had to ramp up slowly, and it's hard to hit. For me, it's hard to hit a really big number when I'm ramping up slowly.
Yeah, no.
Unlike just hammering it,
Yeah.
Anyway, they seemed cool.
I wanted my shot at that.
Yeah. So
cool.
There you go. Go see Matt LeGrand's videos on those things if he finishes them.
YouTubes.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/M LeGrand. Pretty cool stuff. All right, my one last thing is we do have the Michael Myers time trial coming up. I'm going to keep plugging that bad boy. March 12th, 9 a.m. will be the first person to roll out. We've got all kinds of stuff that's going to be a part of that hasn't been a part of, because we're kind of taking over the Jack Frost time trial. I mean, that was the date that you have always known for the Jack Frost time trial. So we're kind of taking that over, and it's going to be branded as the Michael Myers Memorial Time Trial, because that was our boy, and he loved himself some time trial, so we want to pay, just honor him. So anyhow, our goal for this going to be a big one. We want to get 500 people out there. That is a big, lofty, hairy goal. But I think that we can get pretty stinking close to that, because what a lot of people don't think of when they think of a time trial is, hey, I can take just about any bike out there. A lot of people think, oh, I've got to have a TT bike, or I have to have a triathlon bike. I have to have one of those silly looking bikes that makes you look all aerodynamic.
The ones that the UCI are going to ban here.
The ones I'm going to break my femur on.
Exactly. And with the pointy helmet and the super tight skin suits and the weird aero socks and all that.
No socks. No socks.
Yeah. Long story short, if you have a bike, you can come out and do this. We've got road bike divisions, the Eddie Merckx division, which is the road bike division. We've got like your open class, and we've got a master's class 40 plus for those. We've got age group categorizations for all of the standard time trial where you can ride on a TT bike if you want to, all the way from juniors all the way up to 70 plus. I've got a couple people, 70 plus year old guys that have already inquired, like, hey,
fantastic,
can you have a 70 plus division? And the answer to that was yep, and we added it, so it's there. We've got hand bikes, we've got recumbent bikes, we've got just about everything. I think the only thing that we need in there now is a gravel division. I think if we put gravel time trial, we'd probably get a whole mountain people coming. Might even hit 1,000.
You get a few more people out there.
But we've got something for everybody. So just come on out. It's a 20K time trial, which is what, like 12.3 miles?
Yep.
That is easy. I mean, you're going to just push the pedals pretty hard for, if you're on a TT bike, maybe 25 minutes for the fast people. And if you're on a road bike and your fitness, you're still working on your fitness, it might take you 35, 40 minutes. But that's not very long to go out there and ride and kind of help the whole team here.
Love it.
Have a successful event. So
yes.
Come on out, March 12th. Sign up. Go check us out. Cool. Anything else, boys? I think we're going to call this a day.
Nope.
Sounds good.
All right. We do appreciate everybody listening. We will be back next week with another podcast. Until then, bye for now.